All right, man. Let's get to it, man. Let's get it. So Ben Johnson says Detroit Lions drew Petzing a match made in heaven. Um, so I'm not surprised, man. Once again, if he is not a great hire, I'm pretty sure I will hear it in the comment section and on social media. I mean, that's just what it is. Pretty sure I'm gonna hear it. So but yeah, man, let's get to it, man. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link in the description. Say find me everywhere. You can find me everywhere there. Say one of the quickest facts about Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Drew Petzing is that he is a good friends with former OC and current Bears coach Kibbius, Indiana Hammond Kibbius, Ben Johnson. He was even at Johnson's wedding, as it turns out, according to a great profile of Petzing from the Detroit Free Press, David Burkett. Johnson was also at Petzing's wedding, as the two remained close friends following their shared time at BC, Boston College, all the way back to 2010, 2011. Burkett chatted with Johnson about the Lions hiring Petzing, and the former Lions office coordinator gave some high praise for the new Lions hire. Quote, I think he's going to blow those players away from a knowledge standpoint. From a connection standpoint, Josh said, quote, I fully expect that offense to be clicking at a high level next year. It wouldn't surprise me one bit, and I think there's a reason why Dan Campbell, from what I could gather, cast a wide net for the offensive coordinator job, and Drew hit right notes in terms of what he was looking for. Like I said before, it's a fact. It's a fact. I kept telling y'all, man, y'all wanted the offense to be what y'all thought was right for the Lions. Look, as fans and media, we don't get the inside look, so we really can't give a perfect perspective to how they was thinking or why they was thinking or what they need or what they don't need. I definitely understand it, you know. So we can't really give that perspective. We can't really give that perspective. So like that. But what I will say is, just kind of knowing and listening to Dan, I thought Arthur Smith will be a great fit for this job, because the Lions can also help with some creativity that he needed to put in his offense. So I just thought his hard nose, his downhill running. I know people say, well, his scheme is a little bit prehistoric, and understandably so. Understandably so. I get it. Right. But also, the Lions already got creativity, so it could have helped him get a better job. Drew Petzing, not only does he have the creativity and the how can I say it? Still early in the morning. In the imagination, or the creativity. I don't know the word I'm looking for. The versatility to really run the offense that they need. And just because it isn't a household name, I think a lot of y'all selling them pretty short. Just because it isn't a household name, So, but I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people selling dogs short. And when I looked at it and we did more research, I said exactly what they needed. Hard nose offensive coordinator that's gonna be physical, and he also what he brought that Arthur Smith didn't bring. He bought creativity. So that's what was missing. It was some creativity. So yeah, he brought creativity to the table. That's what I liked about him. Physical. That's what he was missing last year. Creativity, the whole nine. Johnson opinion obviously carries a ton of weight. Not only does he know Petzing well, but he knows exactly what the Lions head coach Dan Campbell is looking for, and the kind of people he works well with. He believes that the pairing is going to work well in Detroit. He said, I could see this being a great fit, knowing Dan, knowing Drew, both. I think it's probably a match made in heaven, said Ben Johnson. They said the part of Detroit spoke to Petzing a few weeks ago, teasing the relationship between him and Johnson. Petzing didn't want to feed Johnson any bulletin board material, knowing that Johnson's competitive nature. That said, he did get a little jab. He said, the only thing I said to him is I'm a better looking offensive coordinator. Petzing jokes. Johnson too took the high road. I think he's a really smart decision by Dan. It's going to be hopefully not too big of a headache on us, but I see it being a really good match. Johnson said so. I mean, yeah, like I said, I feel like it's a great fit from everything I get. But to people, to the regular Lions fans who have this grave imagination that it was supposed to be, it was supposed to be, what's my man's name, Mike McDaniels. The problem with Mike McDaniels, only problem I seen with him, he just wasn't gritty enough and tough enough. Kind of going down the John Morton situation. They never made the adjustment. This may not be on him, but they never made the adjustment with them in Miami. Like I said in my other videos, New England, going to New England once a year, going to Buffalo once a year, and going to New York with the Jets once a year. Most likely in inclement or cold weather. Yeah, you needed to get tougher. You needed to gain a run game. You need to be tougher. You need to be tougher. That's it. And they never got tougher. They never, even with the quarterback with Tua, he ain't going to sling it around in the cold 20, 30, 40 times. Not many quarterbacks will. So guess what? We need to get physical up front. And they went through it with John Morton. That's the only thing that was missing with John Morton is that the physicality died. That mindset, that moving mindset died. So even with Dan Campbell, they still, when he was calling plays, it was more finesse. You get with Drew Petzing, you're going to get a lot of power, a lot of violence. That's what you want. You want a violent offensive line. You want a violent quarterback. I know that sounds crazy. You want a violent running back. So I feel like Dave Montgomery stayed. You got violent receivers that love to block, So this is going to be interesting. His creativity, meshing what we already do. I think it's a great fit. Just as long as he a good social person. Nobody talk about how socially great, some of these guys have to be to lead men. A lot of times that's the difference from a good leadership position, head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, the running backs room. The great thing about it is, you have to be socially inclined. And think about it, you coming in as a white guy or a non-black guy in general, you coming in, and guess what? You got to be able to deal with different personalities from different backgrounds. And this is what I say about, racism. You know what I'm saying? I believe, obviously racism, a lot of times in my opinion, I feel like it's just jealousy. But it's the other side of racism or bigotry. I end off on this, is just lack of understanding. And I think when a lot of people, in my opinion, I feel like when a lot of people get to know each other, we enjoy a lot of the same things. I think a lot of stereotypes are broken, right? This is my opinion. I think a lot of stereotypes are broken when we get to know each other. I think when we start talking about traditions and situations, I feel like I feel like people, when they get past this barrier of religion or this barrier of just the media or something like that. I think a lot of people end up finding out. That we ain't too different from each other. That's what I think. People find out we're not different from each other at all. A lot of similarities. So, I think sometimes, try to understand where people come from and understand, kind of the position they be in. I think a lot of that stuff will die just with natural human connection. But hey, appreciate the love, support. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. Peace.